One of the biggest Earth Day observances was in Philadelphia, where an estimated 20 to 40,000 persons gathered in perfect weather in the city's largest park. It was an Earth Day success story, a major demonstration in a major city. But it did not come easily. There were many organizational problems, including a heated controversy over whether to accept financial aid from industries causing pollution. David Culhane followed the Philadelphia story from its start to today's colorful demonstration.
Fairmount Park in Philadelphia today is much like a rock music festival as a teach-in on the environment. A few older people, a few blacks, and some of the poor, but mainly white middle-class young people, as much aroused by the music as by the damage done to the environment by pollution. This is Philadelphia on Earth Day.
Welcome, sulfur dioxide. Hello, carbon monoxide.
Welcome, sulfur dioxide. Hello, carbon monoxide. A song from the worldwide hit musical Hair. It was one of the first hints suggesting that young people were beginning to care as much about the environment as they do about the peace movement and civil rights. Their dream for the age of Aquarius was to let the sunshine in. Let the sunshine in. This is what keeps the sun from shining in on Philadelphia. Hundreds of tons of soot, smoke, fly ash, dust, sulfur dioxide, hydrocarbons, metal fumes, organic matter, odors and malodors on each and every day. And it all comes from places like this, the city's top 10 polluters. Power plants, oil refineries, the city incinerators, chemical plants, coke ovens, smelting operations. And that's just in the air. The city's rivers offer a whole new dimension of pollution. So much noxious waste is involved that some people here have begun to call their city Filthydelphia. But it's pretty much what you would expect to find in any major American city. Public reaction against this kind of thing caused a comparatively small group, mainly college students, to try to put together not just an Earth Day, but an Earth Week to arouse the city about the problems of pollution here. It wasn't a simple job. They encountered several difficulties.
The sheer physicality of
the first problem for the Earth Week Steering Committee was to find out precisely who is polluting the air and water around Philadelphia and how they are doing it. The fact that the municipal incinerators ranked of local industry, but the city finally came around.
Okay, what happened with the city today, this morning, was we met with Dr. Ingram, and he copped to it. We're getting all the pollution information that the city has. Information that's been confidential for the last 4 years. So I think, we did a thing. We really made it there.
But once having made it, what should they do with this information? A direct attack on industries that pollute as student committees planned in other cities? Marches? Demonstrations? Or should the committee seek money and cooperation from industry and the Chamber of Commerce? The decision was not easy for a committee naturally disposed toward direct action.
The Chamber invited us to a meeting. We spent 3 days here in these offices, meeting, trying to decide whether we should go at all. Would we be co-opted by business? By accepting money, by accepting anything from business, would we not be diluting our effort completely? We finally decided to go and see what would happen.
What happened was that the Earth Week Committee finally did decide to accept money from the very companies which are polluting Philadelphia's air and water. The business establishment and a student committee, certainly an unorthodox alliance.
So with the $24,000 which we have actually collected, of the $34,000 that's actually been pledged, and the $45,000 that we seek to achieve, here's an additional check to you, Ed, and to Austin, which I'd like to turn over to you at this stage of the game.
It was a tentative, rather uneasy alliance. The Earth Week Committee said it would not sponsor marches and demonstrations against the industries. The Chamber of Commerce called off plans for a counterattacking advertising campaign. And the Chamber agreed to encourage its members to acknowledge any of their operations that cause pollution and to discuss programs for a cleanup. And the Earth Week Committee was left free to publicize the activities of the polluting industries. At one less than successful Earth Week rally at the University of Pennsylvania, some students made clear their objections to accepting money from companies which are polluters.
If I remember correctly, around the beginning of the Earth Week Committee, there were talks about trying to have at least one activity during Earth Week centered somewhere in proximity to the refineries, so that there could be a people's march toward the refineries. And it seems that this has changed, and I'm wondering if there's any correlation between the change and the check from Atlantic Richfield. Or is it the Chamber of Commerce check?
And that comes around to a problem that I think Earth Week has to face up to, which is where do the bulk of their funds come from, and what does that do to their ability to really face up to fundamental issues?
But most of the people working to make Earth Week a success were apparently satisfied that the time has not yet come for a direct confrontation with the polluting industries. These young people wearing gas masks to dramatize the dangers of polluted air simply went ahead campaigning for a clean environment. And there were expressions of delight that some 30% of the projected Earth Week budget of $70,000 is coming from businesses. Delight that the money is being used to publicize how these same businesses cause pollution. The young people built exhibits downtown and passed out clear spring water and surgical masks to symbolize the dangers of polluted air and water. The objective was to reach masses of people from every part of the community, including the blacks of Philadelphia's ghettos. Some members of the black community responded, but attempts to enlist black leaders got nowhere.
What the blacks said to us was that by joining you, we fragment our own power base. The head of one of the largest black groups in the city, one of the most powerful black leaders in the city, came to this meeting and said, "You're part of a Nixon trick. You are basically doing what Nixon wants you to do. Take energy away from the black issue, take energy away from the war issue, and take everybody's attention onto ecology. You can't be everything to everybody. You'll end up being nothing to anyone."
I don't think we are really committed to get involved in Earth Week, up to our necks, because, see, we still have hungry children to feed, and we still have houses to try to build, and I think we still have a commitment to people that don't really know about Earth Week to try to explain it. I think we're taking the emphasis off the beat-up buildings and the whole problems that go along with living in an inner city, so I'm figuring that we don't really have a part in this, because the polluted streams that they're talking about, we've never seen anyway. The trout, I don't know if they're dying. We've never seen that. I know the rats are bigger here. If we mean polluted sewers, I'm ready to play with that.
So the environmentalists and the black community agreed to disagree and go their own ways. But at least the cautious alliance with the business establishment has more or less worked. Earth Week is advertised in the windows of oil companies and some other businesses. The city government is in a cooperative mood, although hardly participating with the zest shown, for instance, in New York.